Well, hello everyone. Okay, so here is exam 2 in our IPH winter term course. It's up a little bit late. I'm up a little bit late, so you're still going to have a little over 48 hours to get it done. So let's just say by the end of the day on Friday the 13th. What a wonderful day to turn in an exam. Okay, so just want to give you some instructions related to this. First of all, the same setup as the first exam with just a couple changes. First of all, there are 5 questions below, and you should choose any 3, just 3. You decide. Please complete each response in the form of a short essay, and it should be no more than 250 words. But this time I'm requesting that you compose the essay in a Microsoft Word format. Some of you during the first exam just typed in text. I didn't make the instructions very clear, but this time for the second exam, I like everyone just to put it in a Microsoft Word format. Each response should be no more than 250 words and must directly connect to an ethics theme, either burden or what matters most. So you have to be able to do that. And you also have to connect your response to any example from the course. So any example, whether it be one of the documentaries, one of the readings, anything at all from the course, you do not have to have a reference. Okay, I'm saying this again, you do not have to have a reference from outside the course, but you must connect it to an example from the course. And I'm going to give you just an example. So there are 5 questions here. You choose. If you go to the second page, I've created a little practice question for you. Now, this actually question comes from the Being Mortal reflection that you're required to complete. It's one of the questions. And I put down just some of my thoughts and how I would suggest you respond, or there's lots of ways you can respond. The question is, in one of the final scenes of Being Mortal, Jeff Shields and his grandson discuss the fact that he's dying, and his grandson has the opportunity to ask some difficult questions. And if you recall from the documentary, he wanted to die at his farm. And so he's actually in a hospital bed in his farmhouse, looking outside, because that's where he wanted to be. And his young grandson comes to ask us some questions. It's a very touching scene, actually. Are you afraid to die? Are you afraid you're going to miss something? And he has a long conversation. We only see a short clip of it. The question asks, how would you feel about taking the time for a similar conversation with a close family member or friend who are at the end of their life? Let's say this was an exam question. How would you go about perhaps thinking about it? Now, you can go about it in different ways, but you want to, first of all, connect it directly to an ethics theme. So I would say that Jeff Shields' example in discussing his dying process with his grandson connects both to the notion of burden and what matters most. That would be my first sentence. I want you to come out right of the gate and just connect it directly. And then afterwards, you want to expand upon it. You don't need to share what happened. You don't need to share the entire story because I know what happened. I want you to get right to the point and then further develop your response. So, one of the ways that I would respond to it is say, I would feel that a conversation like this with a close family member or friend, especially a relative, would be both challenging and rewarding. But it's clear that Jeff makes his wishes known, and he wanted to die at the farm, which really connects to the idea, the ethics theme of what matters most. He wanted to die at the farm. He made that very clear with his wife, with his physician, and his wishes were able to be fulfilled. And in doing so, he helped to remove the burden from his family. It was still emotional. It was still sad, But in the end, they knew that his decisions mattered most to him. Okay, so that's just a summary. It's just an example. Now, again, no more than, what is it, 250 words, which is not a lot, but it needs to be more than a couple sentences. And you want to connect directly to the ethics issue, and you must also connect your response to an example in the course. And in this example, this was connected to being mortal. Obviously, the question asked for being mortal, but you're using examples from being mortal because it pertaining to this. You don't have to summarize the entire documentary, but this is a way, at least in this example, I can connect both. So I hope this was helpful. Okay, so I'm going to let you go. Please let me know if you have any questions throughout the exam period. Thanks very much, everyone.